like, okay, Allah, help me, take me to the next level, like take me to the next level. Like I'm ready to go all in basically. And I asked Allah, and the next morning I woke up, I said my prayer, 5 a.m. and I went on the computer and I just went on Zillow and I just typed in the first thing that came to mind was like Zillow.com, land in Atlanta. And it was crazy expensive, crazy. So I called my brother like, hey, you want to go half on some land? He's like, yeah, sure. He's like, but how much is it? I was like, don't worry about it. I'll put up the money. Just go half of me on the payments because I'll put up my own capital. Let's just, I can't afford it by myself. Like, there's no way I'm going to invest my last little bit of money on land. He's like, yes, let's do it. But it was still too expensive. So he was like, I know another person. I was like, okay, call him. And we got a third person. This is the same day. And it was still too expensive. So I said, well, I know someone else. So we got a fourth person on the phone the same day. And they agreed. So by the end of the day, we had 4 people. And it was still too expensive when we went over the numbers. It just didn't make sense for us to spend all of our resources on this property when we could just get more people. Like, it wasn't about the ownership. It was about owning it with like-minded people. It wasn't about owning it as an individual. Right. And so if that's the goal, then you can buy anything you want because you just keep calling more like-minded people onto the project. It's equal ownership. So what have you got to lose? So the next day we had a 5th person and we were 1 person short. And I was like, you know what? I'll put something on Facebook just to see what happens. And I put it on Facebook and hundreds of people responded. And we got the person we needed, but we had so many more people. I was like, well, let's buy a second property now. Like all these people, why not keep buying it? This is the time of separation. This is what we talked about. Let's move forward and just do what we know is possible with the power of unity. Let's try it out in the name of Allah. And so I just started reaching out to everyone and it worked. Someone reached out from there and said I had 100 acres. And I was like, oh my God, we can build a community. And so it just took off from there. That's the intro of how it all started. So
praise
yes,
be
sir.
to Allah. Praise be to Allah. What you did, Brother Farrakhan, you touched on something that I wanted you to go a little bit more into, and that's what we discussed in regards to the marketing network of connecting people that want to buy land with other like-minded people that also want to buy land so they can utilize group economics to join capital to make a purchase for something that they might not be able to do on their own. But if 1 or 2, 3, 5, 10 like-minded people come together, the potential for that. So if you can just speak a little bit into that concept that you developed and where you are with that concept in regards to purchasing land.
Yeah, sure. Great question. So the idea of equal ownership made it really easy to get people to unite. Now, we all have issues, but one of those issues that I've never had to face is like tampering with people's money or like misusing funds. So you have to have a certain degree of like transparency with people. Like they have to be able to trust you, right? Like that's key. And so the first step, honestly, is asking God to guide you. Like that's the first step. Because with the guidance of a true and living God, and then accepting the fact that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's example is the only example that will get us to the other side, with those 2 things as a prerequisite, as the foundation, it's really not as hard as we may think. It really isn't. So right. The first thing that came to my mind was immediately as I started interacting with people, I was like, the only way this is going to work is if we treat each other the way we would treat the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So I have to treat you the way I would treat you as if I was in the presence of God. That's the only way that it really works as far as the communication. We have to develop like a higher level of respect and communication with one another. That's key because this whole thing is based around communication. Right. So you have to have something in your mind that you can articulate to the people. And then you have to walk them through the process. So in Louis Jr.'s janazah, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said something really amazing. He said that Lewis Jr. had these amazing like visions, like these overarching ideas, but that what he wanted Lewis Jr. to do is bring it down to meet the people where they were. And that's the existential factor that's always going to be there between the idea and explaining it to the people. It requires like a serious amount of patience, and a certain degree of articulation and a deep level of love for the people that you unite with. This is not a capitalistic venture. This will not work if it's for profit, because the amount of conversations that I've had to have, not being paid any money, you have to really believe in this. I'll just say that. Like, you have to really believe in this to have the level of unity that it takes. And so that's pretty much like the main keys, is like that God consciousness, the minister's example, treating people the way you want to be treated, and then having the love and patience to interact with so many people. That's like the foundation. And I learned this through trial and error, right? Through having literally hundreds of Zoom calls with dozens of people on them. And they bombard you with questions, and rightfully so. You have to be able to answer them like on the spot, you know. And if you don't have an answer, say you don't have an answer. I'll get the answer for you. Like, be honest and totally transparent. So social media is a great way to network and market. And so I wasn't really a fan of social media before this at all. I was like, man, we need our own platform. They did the minister dirty. I'm boycotting them, you know, like I'm like one of those guys, right? But COVID removed so much of the judgmentalism out of me. Like, it totally removed like the self-righteous, you know, idea that I am better than anyone. I know better. It just like destroyed it. Like, totally destroyed it. Like, I was humbled to my core, you know, where I'm not even the same person anymore. So that's another key, is like understanding that none of us are worthy to judge our people is a major factor in effective communication with our people, because you can't think you're better than the people you're trying to save. You can't. And so I don't want to belabor this point, but the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said on the Ramadan prayer line of this year, one of the last things he said to us is he wanted us to stop judging one another, because he said, take the robes of God off, because we're just not worthy to judge our people. And I know I'm talking a lot about spirituality and the minister, but really, like, unity is nothing. If unity is like unity is like an afterthought, if you're developing yourself and you're following the teachings, unity will just happen. I fell into unity. Like, I just walked right into it. I didn't put like this big thing out like, hey, why are we not uniting? Like, I was just like, hey, this is what I'm doing. And I want for you what I want for myself. Would you like to do it? And everyone's like, absolutely, of course. We've been waiting for this. And I'm like, I've been waiting for this. You know, like, so I will say that taking off the robes of God and stop judging other people forever changed me. And I would say that that's something I would recommend everyone do. Like, unity is really self-development, self-improvement. It's really not like there's a 12-step process that I can get into for sure. But I would say I would highly recommend, this is a full-time job, and you have to be at a certain level of like thinking to deal with it, because you have to, you know, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
So as a follow-up to that, Brother Farrakhan, because you mentioned about one of the factors of making people, because trust definitely has to be involved in that. And I know that you have pulled together people from all walk of life. We're not, because we don't want also people to think that what's being built or what we're doing is only for members of the Nation of Islam or registered members of the Nation of Islam. And I know that you have pulled together people from different walk of life. What I wanted to ask you, as you are pulling together people and as we overcome issues of trust and whatnot through the example, what are some of the questions that are raised by people when you put these, because I see the responses that you get back on social media, and it's a lot of positive responses, and people are like all in every time you say, we got this property, we're looking at this. But what are some of the questions that are raised to you when people do reach out and want more information? Because apparently our people are willing, but I just want to look into, what are some of our concerns? What are our issues? What are things that we need to address? What are people are saying that they want out of these communities?
Yeah, good question, Sister Donna. So our people's concerns, and they're extremely valid, especially those who are not, quote unquote, like registered, active believer. But those two, they want to know about that paperwork. That's what they want to know. They want to know the receipt. They want to know about the deed, and they want to know all the details up front. And those details are, how is ownership broken up? How do I show my ownership? What's the access like? The accessibility to the properties? What's the profit sharing like? And then where's that on paper? So the important thing is, and Brother Ben says this, and I want to definitely get into where we're at now, because now we're eventually, I kept going, and Brother Ben X came in on one of the properties, and once he came in, he said, well, brother, we can scale this and do it for all of our people, following the teachings in the name of God, like in the most righteous way possible. And I was like, perfect, let's go. And so I'll get into that later, but that's how we got to this point, was me meeting up with Brother Ben X. That's how we got here, because I was doing it, but it was on a very small scale, relatively speaking. And so the first thing people want to know is, how's the ownership work? So there's a couple ways you can do that. You can do a land trust, which is basically, we have trustees and we have beneficiaries, which means that we control the land. The trustee owns it. The beneficiary will have access to it perpetually. That's one way. And then there's shared ownership. So you make an LLC, and everyone's name is on the LLC. You make an operating agreement. You put forth in the operating agreement up front. So it's a lot of upfront conversations, a lot of upfront conversations. There's group conversations, and then there's individual conversations. And so the people have to understand that this is a process, and the individual has to understand that this is a process, and both have to have a degree of patience with one another. And that helps when your communication is as such, as if you were talking to, as if God was sitting next to you. That's how I'm going to talk to you. Like, how can you go wrong with that? Like giving your word that, like, you won't steal a penny, you won't disrespect anyone, you won't judge anyone, and then following through with that. I mean, it's really hard to go wrong with that kind of unity. So you got the trust, you got the LLC, and then you just have to explain that to the people. So there's just a lot of discovery calls, group calls, and one-on-one calls. And once a lot of the details are ironed out, another thing about collaboration is that the people that you're looking to help sometimes have better ideas than you do. So you might have a vision, but a goal is a vision with a plan attached to it, right? So collaboration allows you to turn that vision into a goal. And then you create these steps of actualization. And now you have other people helping you in that process. So you multiply, you basically reproduce yourself 10, 12 times, 20 times, 100 times, to the best of your ability. And the good thing about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and my co-founder, Brother Ben X, just said this the other day to a group of young people, and it was profound, was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and God are not looking, when they say turn you into, when God says turn you into myself, or you become what you submit to, this amazing concept that the minister revealed to us, it doesn't mean that you turn into them. but it means that you become a better version of yourself. And so by interacting with people and allowing them to do what they're good at and not trying to turn them all into me, like, let me do what I'm good at. If a brother does beekeeping, let that brother handle beekeeping. And he's the beekeeping specialist. If a sister wants to go down to the county and help with the zoning, let that sister go to the county and help with the zoning. Assign these roles and these tasks to people based on what they're already interested in. Basically like the ministries, the non-ministries, right? When people come to the mosque, brother and sister, what's your gift or skill set? Okay, boom, you're over here. So this was something that came up inevitably soon after we looked into the 25-acre mountain. Someone reached out and they said, I have 100 acres that I'll let you use to build a community. Long story short, we found that the land wasn't suitable for building a community. So, but I mean, still, everything still worked out like amazingly, still working with everyone on every level. But in that process, so many people who were in that 100-acre project had a gift or skill set. There were teachers, birth coaches, everything. And I was like, okay, you're in charge of this, you're in charge of that. And then you put them in groups, right? And then so you sub-organize. So basically like the ministries, right? Like it's really just like building a nation. But building a community is a microcosm. If you can build a community, you can build a nation.
Right. That's right.
Like,
That's right.
like you know, not obviously at the snap of a finger, but being it is, the minister said when Allah says be, he doesn't just snap his fingers, he organizes forces, resources, people and angels around his will to bring it into reality, right? So as long as the desire for unity is there, and the Honorable Minister Farrakhan said, study guys, desire feeds the will. If the desire is there, you will have the willpower to develop that unity. And then because of the will will bring you the people that you need, the power, the force and power that's within us, that Allah has like allowed us to activate due to our submission to him. It takes us like light year, like, man, years of progress in months of progress in weeks. Things that we thought were impossible are literally a day's work once you scale that impossibility and you include 20 other people in it. Now impossible is literally a day's work with the power of unity in the name of God. Yeah.
That's excellent. I love that. A process, once you get people involved, a year's work is a day's work. I love that.
Yes, sir. What I wanted to ask you, Brother Farrakhan, is what means did you go about in getting these like-minded people? Yeah. How did you end up coming in contact with them for your small project, and then how you scaled that, made it bigger, got more people for this big project that you're working on now?
Well, one thing about the Honorable Minister Farrakhan is you'll meet someone and they'll be like, oh, my cousin is a Muslim, especially in Chicago. My Uber drivers was like related to him somewhere, somehow. You know, it's like people know someone that's a Muslim. And so people talk. And this is why the Honorable Minister Farrakhan is everywhere. He's everywhere because he's in the hearts of the people, and every person knows people. And it goes from that heart to that person's heart. So somebody who never met him, never heard him speak, will think highly of the minister because of someone else that the minister impacted. So from those initial few Facebook posts, if you deal justly with those first few people, they go and do some of it for, they become believers in the cause and they promote it. So everyone knows someone. So when you follow the minister's example and really strive to deal equitably and justly with every single person, that has an effect on people, and they take it and they share that story with others. So people in the 27-acre farm, which is the first like major public collaborative effort that we got. The 100-acre project was the first in conceptualization stage. The 27-acre one is the first one we actually closed like publicly with a large group of people. those people all know someone. Like, so more people come and they're like, oh my God. And then their family sees it. They're like, you guys actually bought it? Like it worked? Like the money like went to the right place? And they're like, yeah, it worked. They're like, okay, I'll come on. So you have 100 times more people waiting to see if it works. The people you have is like less than 10% of the people that see what you're doing, maybe 1%. You have unlimited number of people laying in the cut, like with the glasses on, waiting to see what happens. Like, okay, they close. Okay, it might be. I'm gonna wait for one more thing to happen, you know. And so everyone knows someone basically. And when you really do it in the name of God, you kind of let Him work all that out. Like you just keep going in faith. Like I'd be totally lying if I said I didn't have the most difficult days of my entire life in this process, because I have Brother Cartier, Sister Donna. I've had the best days of my life, right? So because unity, when I say the best day of my life, it's because I'm seeing the hereafter. It's literally the only thing left for our enemy's world to fall is for us to unite. And when you see Black people uniting, that's the end of the effects of this contrary way of teaching and thinking and living that was given this extended time to rule. It's over. Like the fact that we're doing what we're doing is proof that it's over. We're entering into a new phase. We're entering into a new world. Like only Allah can cause this kind of unity. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said on a table talks, and I think it was 1972, but it might have been 1974, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was in Chicago. And well, I don't want to get off into it, but the minister quotes the Holy Quran where he says that you were on the brink of a pit of fire and Allah saved you. And I think he said it again at the Black Muslim Bakery, 1977. He said, like, because there was all these different groups, right? And everyone was like, what do we do? Where do we go? And he's like, Allah will work that out. Allah is the one that causes or allows the unity. Allah does that. So the fact that I can be a part of what God is doing, forever grateful. Yes, forever grateful.
Yes, so tell us, Brother Farrakhan, this project that you're on now, I know we had talked about the 100-acre project, and then you all ran into some complications with that one in regards to the leasing and everything, but it had motivated and inspired the 13 so much that other people came in and they ended up taking those funds and transitioning over to another project, a much larger project, which was the 440 acres of land in Rome, Georgia. So if you can just tell the group, let them know about that project that you guys are currently working on right now, and what some of your intentions are for that land in regards to the sustainable farming community.
Definitely, Brother Cartier. So from the 27-acre small mini farm community that God willing we want to build out, God was the one that Brother Ben X came on, and he came up with the plan to scale it, the idea to scale what was being done, because he's like, why not present this to all of our people? And so I'm like, okay, of course, let's do it. Like, let's go. And so we made an Instagram account, and from Instagram, someone reached out and said that I have 440 acres. Are you guys interested? So I sent them my number. I said, call me ASAP, because I'm like, this is it. This is the community. Like something in me just like said, at least try, like see what it's about. So we talked, and it was perfect opportunity basically to build a community perfect opportunity. Perfect. Like, I'm so grateful to God because it's all from him. Like, like it just came to us. Like, we didn't search for it. We didn't have to beg or anything. And with the power of unity, we just make stuff happen. Like, we say, hey, this is what we need to accomplish. Is there 100 people or is it 25 people? And the people are there. So it's a 440 acre community that, God willing, we're actually building. It's in northern Georgia, and we want to do an educational center, because the first thing the Honorable Minister Farrakhan said, the first thing you set up, sometimes even before the mosque, is the school. And so we want to have a school there so that we can teach the children first and foremost. So it's 440 acres. We're going to use about 100 acres for the residential area, not the whole 100, but within that 100-acre subdivided parcel, we're going to put the homes. And we're going to have an additional 60 acres for the animals. The Honorable Minister Farrakhan said that the first thing God told man to do is to farm. The second thing that we find in the scripture is cow, animal husbandry. It's the second thing right behind farming. So we have dedicated farmland on the 440 so that we can be self-sustainable, have our own food. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, consume what you produce and sell the extra. So we're turning from consumers into producers. Next to the farm, we have the cows, horses, and chickens. The chickens help cross-generate or regenerate the pasture with the cows. So they work together in harmony, right? And of course, we control the environment. We control the atmosphere. So everything is healthy in accordance with the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as taught and explained to us by the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. We have such a clear and succinct body of knowledge to draw from. If there's ever a confusion, or if I ever say anything wrong, all you have to do is pull out How to Eat to Live, or message to the black man and say, hey, let's do it this way. And okay, of course, that's the way to do it. So it's much easier to get people to unite around the word of God than it is to some random idea that we as men come up with. So by bringing forth a vision that I think already exists, I don't think I came up with it at all. I think it's a vision that already exists, that we can all access or tap into to a degree based on our specific role or predefined function within the manifestation of that vision that God made us to fulfill when he made us. And so all we have to do is do our part like a puzzle piece. That's it, right? We don't have to be the whole puzzle. We just do our puzzle piece part. So we have cows, horses, and chickens, and we have farmland. And then we have the homes encompassing the farmland area. So we have an educational center. We have a lot of the 100-acre people came over to the 440, and we have thousands of people that have inquired about joining the 440. Like, too many. Like, we have to do so many discovery calls. We have to do so much vetting, so many Zoom calls in order to narrow it down to 60 people. We're looking to do about 60 homes to start, but there's so many people that we literally get to choose, and we don't have to like there's no, it's all like flowing. You know what I mean? Like, by the grace of God, it's flowing. We don't have to force anything or impose anything on anyone, or offer any type of extra incentive to convince someone to come. The people are already ready to come. So within the 440, we're going to have a school. We want to have a preschool for pre-K to kindergarten. And then we want to have a school for the school-age children. And then we want to have a place for the high school children. So this can all be one building, but sectioned off, or it can be two separate buildings. So we want to have a very high-tech educational center on the property. Funding is not an issue because the people are there. The people are ready to invest. They're ready to donate. They're ready to buy. So we can literally build whatever we want there. So we want a high-tech educational center for the older children. And we want the best that we can offer to that school age group. And of course, we want to nurture and foster the minds of the youngest group with the people who are living there. So we have educators moving there. So we'll be educating our own children. We have birth workers who are going to be living there, but also within our network. So we'll have birth workers as a birth center on the property so we can control our environment. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said we have to be very careful what environment we place ourselves into, because the environment could turn you into itself. So the reason I wanted to build a community in the first place was to give God a chance to remake us, because we must separate. And I can't start with, hey, 8 states, 100 million acres. Like, where do you start with that?
Right.
You start right here with what Dr. Ava's doing, with what we're doing, with what other Black people are doing. There's other Black people buying land. And so this is literally how we start. It's happening, right? Like, it's literally happening. So 440 acre community, we control the environment that our women are able to conceive children and foster that pregnancy for 9 months, give birth to the child with our own midwives, doctors, and nurses, educate that child, and then prepare that child for a mission to go out and do whatever God made them to do. You know, like, we basically are allowing God to come in and help us remake ourselves into his people, into the people that he wants us to be, because God raised up Black people in the Nation of Islam for us to go teach other people. You know, like, he wants to make a new world, but he's using us to do it. He's like, okay, I'm going to come to you guys. I'm going to teach you everything that I have. And then I'm going to allow you to take that and go do all the work now. You know, so this allows God, a space to remake us, God willing, into himself. And so I don't want to get too spiritual again and too, you know, into the teachings and whatnot, but I really can't help it. And the lost, found, or there's so many different groups of Black, brown, red, yellow. And I have a lot of white people reaching out. That's another conversation. But there's so many groups of people who want to collaborate and work with us. Over half the people, well over half, are not Muslim as far as what they identify as. Of course, we're all Muslim by nature, but what they identify as, 75% are not Muslim as far as their identity. Some of them are religious, some of them are Christian, some of them are Hebrew, whatever. They're just good people. They're just God-conscious people that want a better life, just like me. They're just like us, but they talk different and they dress different. But the mind is the same. You know, the mind is the same. And that's what we're uniting around. We're not uniting around the way we look. We're not uniting around our outfit or the part in my hair or the shine on my shoes. We're uniting around ideas. And the idea that I'm projecting is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Him, the idea of Farrakhan. That idea, that modern, you know, name of God, attribute of God, that gave us a whole example for 66 years now. So I don't want to go too far into that. But
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let the people know, Brother Farrakhan, where you all are right now with the phase that you're in right now with the 440 acres, and what you all need and how, you know, we can help.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So we've got the 440 acres, which is a community we're calling the Hereafter. That's the name of it. Okay. We're raising $2.5 million. And we're also going to raise some additional capital after that. We're going to put up some of our own money, obviously, to immediately jump right into developing the infrastructure of the property. We're working with the commissioner in that county. We've found a developing consultant that has educated us enough now where we are in the beginning stages of being developers. So we started Hereafter Developments, which is a development company. Myself and brother Ben X, the co-founder, we're ordering our yellow hats on Amazon right now as we speak. So we're learning how to develop a community from a logistics standpoint. We're working with a developing consultant. The best way to do that is to find a local guy that's worked on these types of projects before, that knows people, that has influence with local government. So we got a guy on the ground, and he's been invaluable so far. Yeah, so let him, if he knows how to develop, let him develop. And we learn from him everything that we can so that maybe next time we can do it. So even though technically we're the developers, he's the developing consultant, we're allowing him to do what he does best, which is to develop. We have an engineering firm, another local prominent engineering firm. Is you want to get people who have done this before. Like, we can't all be first timers, right? Like, you don't want everybody to be the first timers. Someone has to know what they're doing. Someone. So Brother
Excellent
Ben X,
point. Excellent point.
yes, man. So Brother Ben X is a god in his own space. I can efficiently do what I do, both of us by the grace and permission of God, but we need an engineer, we need a developer, we need plumbers, we need electricians.
Right.
So we have some FOI that formed a real estate development group or some type of real estate group. They're flying in town this weekend. We're going to meet on the property, and they're going to be working in collaboration. I don't know if they want me to put their name out there yet or not, but they're going to be working in collaboration with the development consultant company and the engineering firm so that we can learn everything from start to finish and have that intellectual property in the nation within our own network of people.
That's right.
So we're actually going to know how to build out a community after this. I mean, we're learning literally from the ground up. So I've had many calls with the developing consultant and the engineering firms, and surveyors, and so the county commissioner, to have people on your team that know these people is important. Local development consultants, local engineers, local this, local that. Just like you buy your food local, because the high chances of it being more integrous go up when it's made locally. Same with collaboration. If you've got land, the people who are local generally know how to get that land developed quicker than someone coming from out of town that knows how to do it, but doesn't know anyone, doesn't know the contractors, doesn't know local laws, ordinances, doesn't know the previous city council members. So definitely working with local people is key, because they can do a lot of stuff for you.
So what's the landscape been like? I think it's in Floyd County. I think Rome is in Floyd County. When I look, what's the landscape been like with the county board and county commissioner, county president? Have they been receptive to you all, or
very, very
good,
very receptive, very receptive. I know it's almost too good to be true, but so far we literally have not hit any major roadblocks.
Praise be to
on any level. Like I'm shocked. Yeah, we've encountered no opposition yet. So we got the 250 acres that we're striving to get. We just locked in 63 acres 2 days ago. We just locked it in under contract. We're closing on it November 11th, I think. And the 63 acres is right down the street from the 440. So we actually have the 440, and now we have another 63 acres that we're locking in right down the street from there, which has some possibility or viability for commercial use. So now not only do we have the 440, the 250, but now we have the 63, which we can actually have storefronts because the southern border is on the main road. So the people who live here can now have some access to commercial development and we can start to generate income and become more self-sufficient in the future, long term. So this amazing 63-acre property that's subdividable, it's unrestricted, unincorporated county. That's key too. That's key. Let me say that is
Yes, sir.
zoning. Like the reason we haven't had huge obstacles is because it's unincorporated, it's unrestricted. So it has some built-in benefit to us based on where we bought the land. People are like, why are y'all an hour and 20 minutes out the city? Because we're trying to build an entire city. You can't like do that like the west end of Atlanta. You know what I mean? Like it's like $100 million and some politicians on your side. But if you go an hour out, you can bring forth God's vision an hour from the city.
That's right.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
You know, Brother Farrakhan, you brought up about the land with the storefronts. And I think that was a really critical component that you all are addressing, because even within a settlement, you have to have businesses, right? So if you could just speak just very briefly on the importance of the two being married together, where people live, as well as a business district to support where they live, because as we've seen in the past, Black Wall Street and other great places, a lot of them sprung up actually as business districts first, and then had the residential, and then some had residential and the business grew up around it, because you still need to support your community. So if you could just speak very briefly on that, the importance of that.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was talking about the infrastructure of the nation. He was talking about the provisional constitution. And he said something really profound. He said that you don't need to add anything or change anything. He said that you need to better implement what we already have. And then he said, from that, you will grow, and out of your growth will come the necessity to form new ideas, right? And so bringing the people together and striving to live independently in a sustainable, holistic way, the need for income will naturally produce the answer to that question. Because you get the people, you make the progress, and then you naturally expand. So Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1905, the brother bought the land, but it wasn't until he united with a brother in 1921 that they built Black Wall Street, right? So they had the land. It wasn't until they got unity that they took the land and developed a community. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad broke it down in Message to the Black Man. He said that, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan also has said this time and time again, but especially in a time when it must be done, he really laid out the blueprint. So he said that you buy usable land, right? You figure out what the best use of that land is. Through developing the land, you can create trade and commerce, jobs. How? Jobs and storefronts. They go together. How though? Because on the land is trees. To take timber, to cut it down and turn it into lumber is an industry. To take that lumber and sell it or ship it is a trade and commerce. Now you can trade with other groups. You can trade with other communities. And I'll get into another topic, and you can trade with other nations. This is a reality. This is not just some words. This is a reality. And all you have to do is acquire the land in unity in the name of God, and you start to find out things you never even knew existed are actually the next step, and you fall right into it. So once you cut the trees down, the Most Elijah Muhammad said you can use those trees to build the houses on the land that you cut the trees down from. So literally from raw land, you have the wood built in that you use to build the houses. You take that and you sell the extra, like strawberries. Then under the trees is clay. You take the clay and you build bricks. And you use the bricks to build you some houses, like our brother did with Tuskegee. Built a whole institution. And from that institution, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said is the seminal fluid of the kingdom of God. From an institution, he said that. Institutions. God-conscious institutions. And so, yeah, this is how we create jobs. This is how we create businesses, because from the land, you grow cotton. You take that cotton and you turn it into a refined product. That's a job in itself. That's an entire industry, depending on how much cotton you have. Harvesting it, transforming it, manufacturing it, and selling it, retail or wholesale, or refining it into clothes. Like, that's a whole pipeline. And then you have an outlet to sell the clothes. So it's very realistic for us to utilize those commercial spaces. Once we have land, you can sell the honey from the bees on the land, which will have honey. You can sell the dairy products. You can sell products and goods that the people who live on the land make. You have a daughter that makes dolls. You put it in there. You have a sister that does holistic counseling. Give her a space, you know. You have a brother that does trucking. Give him an office space. People can come and meet, and they can negotiate the deal right there. And this is actually extremely affordable with unity. So if we have, out of the 63 acres, 9 acres of it is on one road, 9 acres of it is on another. This whole 9 acres portion, like, at least, okay, I'll say 7. This whole 7 acres is commercial. So it's a long strip. You can put an unknown number of commercial businesses on this strip, serving the needs of the people who live behind it and the people who live on the 440. So for the 63, we want to do commercial, agriculture in the middle, and then residential being insulated, and behind it is properties that are landlocked, so there's nothing there. The residential community is insulated by the agricultural, and then it works in collaboration with the commercial space that faces the street. And the 440 is private. It's way off the main road, and we want to have a birth center and private educational institutions. And I just had a really long meeting that went way over. We were supposed to be meeting. They wanted to buy land, and they wanted to pay, and they wanted to talk, and I wanted to talk. I wanted to meet them because they sounded amazing. It was a brother and sister right here in Atlanta, where I'm at right now. The brother is an EMS worker. He works with FEMA. He agreed verbally, and they're going to put it in writing and give me the whole blueprint and outline. He agreed to build a emergency response clinic, health and wellness clinic, on the property, on the 440 or the 63. This brother and his sister said to me, we have enough stuff in our storage already, because he's a contractor for FEMA that gets the trucks. We have enough stuff in our storage already to build out the whole clinic that we can just give to the project right now.
Oh my God.
That's right.
Unity.
That's right.
Unity.
That's right.
Unity. Not looking to exploit our people, find ways to profit for self-gain. Unity, real unity. We can literally go free. We can literally go free. Once we go free from the white man's world in our thinking, we can go free as a people overnight. Overnight, we can go free. We have people from Connecticut that want to teach farming on site. There's countless examples of this, but we have amazing people through Hereafter Farms memberships, which is something we're developing right now, and it's almost done. Through Hereafter Farms memberships, which is a way for people, we're going to offer live classes online for how to farm from start, like in your own backyard. We're going to offer classes for how to do beekeeping, like in your own backyard. we're sending every member heirloom organic seeds to your house so that you can have the actual heirloom organic seeds that you can use to farm. Then we're doing weekly classes on how to take those seeds. We're working with other people. I'm not doing them. We're collaborating. We're uniting with people. And we're taking those seeds and we're showing people how to plant those seeds in their backyard. We're showing them how to cultivate those fruits, vegetables, and herbs. We have an herbology, homeopathy, weekly homeopathy class through Hereafter Farms, through the memberships, where people will learn how to take herbs and extract the benefit from the herb in a way that is healthy. And Musa Elijah Muhammad said that the way they extract the vitamin and put into the capsule is not healthy. So we have people who specialize in this, who will be teaching our people this, and we're collaborating. We're working together. So that would be a membership. That's more coming down the line, like very soon, the next couple of weeks, God willing. So we're going to have the birth center, the schools, and we're going to have a very high-tech educational center, which is not only for the students, but will be for other people to come in, like a entrepreneurship incubator style, where people can learn kind of like really advanced concepts and working as teams in collaboration. We want a space where Black people can be comfortable to work together and learn together and produce new ideas together. Round tables, literally round tables. I think that there's some wisdom in that, round table discussion that we haven't really tapped into yet. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Can you, Brother Farrakhan, kind of tell the audience about the land, the 440? I know you told me you had some, I think like 3 lakes on the land, some timber that's currently growing. If this is the right one, is actually have acreage of timberland that's currently growing. Can you kind of break down to them what you got, your topography?
Sure. So it's producing hay right now. It's got a 100-acre hay producing pasture. And it's got a vineyard there that grows grapes. It's got 3 ponds or lakes, and they're spring fed. So we have water, basically. We have water. We're going to connect 2 of them to make it like a 4-acre lake down by the homes. And then behind the homes is a 200-acre mountain, which we'll use for recreational activity, for agritourism. We'll have like the ATV trails, the bow and arrow, the beekeeping will be up there. We'll have some campsites where our people can come and camp and learn how to live outdoors, some survival training. And then the very top of the mountain is another 8-acre space with an additional private stocked pond. And this space will be like our off-grid experimentation space where people can come and do some of that for food sustainability, greenhouses, hoop houses. We can have tents, off-grid cabins up there. We're working with people. They have ideas, and we're literally just allowing people with ideas to come in and putting it together in a way that's sustainable and cohesive and collaborating to bring those ideas into reality. So this space at the very top is like 7 to 8 acres. And it's got views, like it overlooks like the rest of the property. It's really an amazing little like secret area up there. And we really want to use it and utilize it to really, really, really get in harmony and really get into the ground from an experimentation level, as far as like the Honorable Minister Farrakhan said, making soil, creating atmosphere, right? And then, so we want to have really high level activity and thinking at the highest level of the 440. So, and so because it's so high up, obviously it's not getting interfered with from any traffic or a lot of human interaction as well. So this really provides a really, really amazing space for us to experiment on. But down in the residential area, we have a home already there, 3-bed, 3-bath. We have a vineyard area. We have an area where we're going to put 15 small cottages, and that'll be used for the agritourism, also for the members of Hereafter Farms, where they can come and visit and stay overnight on the land. It's a perfect opportunity there. And then it's also separate from the community. So the community is still insulated. There's still like a separate entrance to the actual homes. So that even though Hereafter Farms community is there visiting, people can still have their own private residences right next to it. And then we have the 3 to 4 acre lake down there. We have the pasture, we have the farm area for growing, and then we have the homes.
Praise be to Allah. Can you, before we, I know you talked to Sister Donna about some international moves that you're making, because you're moving around. But before we go to that, can you just tell the audience how they can stay, get in contact with you, of course, but how they also can stay in tune with Hereafter Farms, a point of contact for that, so if they want to join in, if they want to be a part of it, or they just want to stay updated to the progress. If you can put that in, and we'll try to put that also in the whatever you have in the chat.
Sure. Definitely. You can go to our Instagram. It's at Hereafter Farms. At Hereafter Farms. And so that's our Instagram. That's like probably the best way. Hereafterfarms.com will be ready, God willing, in about two weeks. Hereafterfarms.com. Give us about 2 weeks. Also, we have a phone number now. It's area code 404-736-3167.
Say that one more time, brother.
Yeah, sure. So it's up.
Oh, she's got it. She got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm slow. I'm too slow.
No, you're all right, brother. You're all right.
Great.
So that's how they can get in touch with us. The website will be up, God willing, very soon. We're working on it. We just wanted to be right. We just started, like Brother Ben X came in and said, we just came up with this idea to work together like 10 weeks ago, maybe 11, say 11 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we've moved, I would say at the speed of light, but because the FOI, I know how fast the speed of light actually is. Not that fast, maybe the speed of sound. But we're moving quick, bro. Moving quick to the car by the grace and permission of God.
Praise be to Allah.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm so giddy just hearing about the plans. And what I love is this isn't just talk. This is actually happening. The land has been acquired, the plans, you spoke of the engineers. So this is movement. And as you spoke on the speed of things, it just gives proof that this is our time, that allows blessing us through the efforts of what he wants from us, which is separation. And it has always been separation since the coming of Master Fard Muhammad to the Black man and Black woman in America. So I don't know about anybody else in the listening audience, but that presentation made me just like really giddy. I'm so ready to get into a community like that. I recently told my husband, as we were looking at, upgrading homes and spaces, I was like, I can't live with strangers anymore. That I'm done with moving into a neighborhood. Don't know what kind of neighbor I'm going to get. Don't know what's going to happen. Don't know if it's going to turn. That's it. I can't live amongst strangers that don't care or don't even want to come together or want to unite with those who want to unite and who want to have better communities. So I'm really fired up by what you presented. But you said some things in regards to global production that really leads us right into our final video of this evening. It's a brief presentation by yourself in Ghana and what you all are doing there. And then you can just say something about that briefly after we close it out, even though the video is self-explanatory. And then we're going to move into closing remarks by Student Minister Ava Muhammad, who is the national spokesperson for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And we have a couple of announcements and then another special closing video that kind of ties together what we can all be doing at this time through the 9 ministries that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan introduced to us at the Millions More movement. Because as you spoke of, everything that you spoke of all requires the work of the 9 ministries. You have trade and commerce, you have the healthcare system. All of these things require not just acquiring land, but the know-how, as you said, of the different people and bringing our skill sets together so that we can service our people. That's what ministries are about, servicing our people and servicing in a better way. And what better time during, except for during a time like this, when we are being forced with forced vaccination attempts at forced vaccinations. Well, when we're off to our own, you don't tell us what to do. We set up our rules and regulations. So all of this is critical. So at this time, we're going to bring up the video dealing with the farm and cocoa production in Ghana and what you are doing with that.
Muhammad Ali. We just signed the agreement locking down the 200 acres in Ghana. The special thing about this property, besides the owners being some of the most amazing people we've met in this process, is that it's a cocoa farm. It's a 200-acre cocoa farm in Ghana, which, if you know, makes some of the best chocolate in the world. So we're starting off with 25 kilograms a month. It's sustainably harvested, family-owned and operated, directly from the source in Ghana. It's an amazing opportunity. So here at the farm just want to have its own chocolate, partnering up with Noah Family Estates. And we need people to take this cocoa powder, 25 kilograms per month of cocoa powder, and we need people to convert this into finished products. We know a little about land, we're connecting with people, we know about digital real estate. We can eat chocolate, but we don't know how to make chocolate. So please reach out to us if you or someone you know has a skill set in this area. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're really looking forward to moving out in this opportunity as soon as possible. Thanks, peace.
Okay, it may have frozen a little bit, but we're going to.
Zidane, did we lose you?
Yeah, the video didn't freeze. It finished.
I think,
Yeah, I think we lost it.
Johnny, I think, okay. Yeah, I think she told me about some technical difficulties, but I think that's the heavy piece, brother, what you just showed, because it shows our ability in doing for self to build relationships and also to utilize relationships that we already built in regards to friendships all across the globe. And one of the things that we don't have an opportunity to really to benefit from here in America as being Black men and women here in this country is to interact with our people from a perspective of self-identifying as being Black. We tend to have to interact with them on the continent of Africa or in the Middle East or in China based off of the premise of how they view America and Americans and their foreign policy and their trade deals and treaties that they build with the other nations. So us actually taking the initiative, the step towards independence, an independent step to foster those relationships on our own, I think speaks volumes to the potential of what this ideology that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad introduced to us as being the best and only solution, how far it could go, and really that it's not really, it has global context. It has global context. Oh, we got Sister Donna back. Sister Donna, can you hear?
Yes, I can hear. Sorry about that. You know, I'm having problems with our internet connection, which is another reason to get out from under it. I'm sorry, but all the providers are, they're all the same, and we have to develop our own and come up with the best service for ourselves. But I don't know what point we left off, so I don't want to jump into the middle of that, Brother Cartier.
Okay, no, I mean, I was pretty, unless you had something that you wanted to say on it, Brother Farrakhan, you can go ahead, or otherwise we're going to bring in Sister April.
Okay, yeah, sure. How much time do we have left?
Oh, just a moment or two, if you speak briefly on what we just saw, and then we're going to bring on Minister Ava and then move into our closing announcements.
Sure, I'll be extremely brief. So probably the most amazing part about all of this is the collaborative projects that God has blessed us to be able to be a part of. We have people from all over the world that have reached out, that want to work together and farm together and buy together, invest together. It's literally no limit, like you said, Brother Cartier. There's no measuring it. It's all the grace of God, the Most High Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Mr. Farrakhan going around the world making friends for us. Once we start doing stuff, there's people all over the world that are already doing what we're doing, and they're doing other stuff. And by you putting out the call, it allows people to come in and say, let's work together. And we're like open arms, we're ready, like whatever we need to do to work together with our brothers in different parts of the world. That's what we're doing. So we have over 600 acres. We have a whole nother side of this Hereafter Farms project that is collaboration and collaborative land sharing agreements. I mean, it's so amazing. So I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to take up time from our Dr. Ava. But yes, so cocoa from Ghana is on the way. God willing, we're gonna make some chocolate bars. So if I don't eat it all, then there'll be some left for everybody else.
It's Sister.
Thank you so very much. So at this time, we want to bring on the national spokesperson for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the one who led the charge of the project separations throughout the country for a 2-year period. And that is our sister student minister, Ava Muhammad.
Thank you, Sister Donna, so much. In the most holy name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad and raised from among us his exalted Christ, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I thank them both for their mercy in our midst, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I greet my beloved brothers and sisters on this amazing program this evening in the words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. And very quickly, thank you, Sister Donna, for not only moderating, but really serving as an executive producer of this program. My dear brother Cartier, brother Zuri, Muhammad, thank you all. I'm going to be very brief because I could talk for hours about Brother Farrakhan Ali, and we don't have hours, but I will say that he truly was developed by Allah for this moment, and he definitely started this concept of the separation process being referred to as project separation. And he brought to the team that actually carried out Minister Louis Farrakhan's vision of a series of town hall meetings accompanied by some methodology by which we could host a referendum. And we still have all of the thousands of signatures. Well, it was Brother Farrakhan's skill in politics and campaigning and his development of these petitions that made the town halls have a real long-lasting meaning. And of course, here we are now. And Brother Farrakhan, you know, when you said the only thing left to finish this world off is for us to unite, I thought of Minister Farrakhan telling us, if you stop thinking about white people, they will cease to exist. He didn't mean they would disappear or go off the planet. He meant neutralizing the impact of a system of white supremacy. It would disappear. And I'm seeing through this series that land acquisition, and particularly what Brother Farrakhan has brought us tonight, sharing with us not only the land acquisition, but the belief system that is behind it, the philosophy, the theology that is behind it, and the importance of uniting not around some individual's agenda, but in your words, Brother Farrakhan Ali, around the word of God. And I'm so happy about this 200-acre cocoa farm in Ghana. I don't know what to do. I'm looking so forward, especially as one who loves chocolate. But let me close with this reading from the opening letter to Study Guide 19, Who is God? From Minister Farrakhan, because what is happening here is the reality of his words. The Holy Quran, I'm sorry, let me start with this. The ritual of Hajj is a sign of what the world will be like in totality when the Mahdi establishes the kingdom of Islam. In that day, there will be no racism to corrupt the spirit of Allah, of Islam, no sexism, no materialism, no nationalism. All of the corruptors of the true spirit of Islam will be completely destroyed. The Holy Quran and its application is preparation to live in the hereafter. The hereafter is here on earth after the destruction of the power of the wicked to interfere with the establishment of the kingdom of Islam. In that new world, there will be no need for a law that punishes adultery, homosexuality, rape, murder, theft, or any offense, because there will be no lawbreakers. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, Islam as we know it will not be in the hereafter. The principles will remain, but there will be a totally new knowledge. The hereafter is a continuation of this life on the highest plane of existence. It is the life we knew before the fall of Adam. The one who brings about this reality is not a prophet. He is the manifestation of God. And I am just overwhelmed with tonight's presentation because it manifests those beautiful words from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Thank you all so much. And I'm going to sit back and enjoy the rest. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you so very much. And Brother Cartier, I don't know if you had any other final closing words before we move into our special announcements for this evening.
No, nothing to say after that.
And I definitely thank Brother Farrakhan for your participation, for coming to us this evening, and everything, as Minister Ava laid out, that you have helped set before us as we go through this process called separation. So at this time, we had two special announcements and then a special video to close out with. Our first announcement that we're so very excited about is Student Minister Ava has embarked on a series of classes, master classes, if you will, for women. And it is based on her phenomenal publication, Weapons of Self-Destruction. And we'd like to invite you to the next master class for November. This will be the 5th master class, which is really exciting. Sister Deanna will be bringing up the flyer announcement for us. She may be having a little technical difficulty on the screen. Yes, oh my God. It's my first time seeing the flyer, so I'm extremely excited. Part 5, The Purge. Loving yourself enough to survive a separation. Oh my God, I can't even imagine all the things that will be involved in this presentation, which have all been phenomenal. And that is Monday, November 15th at 2021. And it's at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, and it's only $50, and you can register now. Registration is open at ministerava.com. And speaking of ministerava.com, we invite you to visit the website www.ministerava.com. First of all, isn't that beautiful? Look how it pulls you in. It makes you want, look at the tabs: services, media, masterclasses and books, community. And this program, Project Separation, streams on that platform every every time we do a presentation, it also streams simultaneously on ministerava.com. So you don't always have to jump over to YouTube. YouTube's handy, but you can come directly to what we have established, and that is www.ministerava.com. So please visit the shop, pick up a couple of books, sign up for your masterclass, check out the services. You don't want to miss it. And so now, as we prepare to move in a closing, we have a special video that we'd like you to view. It deals with the 9 ministries as called for by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan during the Millions More movement. And as you heard Brother Farrakhan and Brother Cartier speak throughout the evening, that's exactly what we heard. Services to our people, and that's what the ministries are. So this is an overview of that we'd like you to listen to, absorb, and then take action on. Again, listen, absorb, and take action. And so with that, we will watch that final video before we move into closing prayer. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us.
Assalamu alaikum. Happy Holy Day of Atonement. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his servant. I am Brother Bobby Muhammad, one of the student study group coordinators on the Nation of Islam's Friday night study group, under the direction of our wonderful sister, student minister Ava Muhammad, the student national spokesperson for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Sister Ava works very hard each and every week to help all of us to do justice to the revelatory course given to us by Allah through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And that course is entitled Self-Improvement, the Basis for Community Development. This course is directly connected to the essence of the Holy Day of Atonement, as well as to this year's theme as we commemorate the 26th anniversary of the Million Man March. I was of those that were blessed to be present on the Mall in Washington in 1995. I was blessed doubly to be able to have an assignment, a post, as a member of the mighty FOI, the Fruit of Islam. My post was like right behind the stage, and we had specific instructions on what we were to do. And by the end of that marvelous event, for whatever reason, I was directed to move to the stage, onto the stage for the closing prayer. And at that time, prior to that, I really didn't have a great vantage point just based on where I was positioned prior to that. But as I moved to the stage and the prayer began, and I looked out to the sea of men, I was absolutely in awe of what I saw. And it's interesting because after the prayer, I'm in a little bit of shock and awe. And I moved from the stage down to the mall area. And by the time I walked off the stage onto the mall area and got onto the ground or to the grassy area, really everyone had already dispersed. And it was amazing that just seconds ago, there were 1 to 2 million black men. And in just that short period of time, we moved out. And as I was walking back to my hotel, there were some park service workers, and one walked up to me and said, "Brother, you all should get a medal because this area is just so clean." They were looking for trash to pick up, and there was none except in the designated areas where trash was to be put. And you could see that trash there, but it was not all over the mall. It was a miracle. And so when I returned home and the Final Call newspaper came out and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan put that title, A Glimpse of Heaven, I am thankful to Allah that I had an opportunity to be a part of that glimpse. And so this day, this blessed day, the Holy Day of Atonement, carries 3 essential imperatives from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And those imperatives involve atonement, reconciliation, and responsibility. And so this brief segment that we are presenting focuses on the responsibility that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan outlined both at the Million Man March in 1995 and 10 years later at the Millions More movement. Now, remember, self-improvement, the basis for community development. We must do both, improve ourselves and develop our communities. Why? Well, by now, we should know, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has urged us time and time again, to make our communities a decent and safe place to live. And by now, we should know that this will never be done for us by others. We must do the job. And so to do so, we must further organize and plan and produce service providing entities that meet the needs of our people in every facet of their lives. Now, these service providing entities are more properly referred to as ministries. As the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan outlined, 9 ministries plus 1, along with their functions. So now, the question is, what's next? No. The question we're here to present is, what's now? Why? Because work is already being done. And what is our responsibility, individually and collectively? To expand the work? What is it that we must do? While there are many examples of individuals, families, and groups doing marvelous work in our communities in various areas of the country, the aim now is to move toward more collective and comprehensive effort. This involves a special kind of planning, sometimes known as scenario planning. Well, what is a scenario? It's an expected or supposed situation or sequence of events. It is a description of possible actions or events in the future. Now, scenario planning has been defined in many ways, but it's been redefined here to fit our purpose, our method, and our reality. So, this redefined scenario planning is about visualizing different manifestations of a community's future based on actual facts, reasonable inferences, and the forces that are driving the conditions of the community. Now, most scenario planning involves with dealing with a bunch of assumptions. And every time I hear the word assumption or assume, in my growing up, I was always taught that when you assume, you make up out of you and me. So we don't want to make a whole bunch of assumptions. We want to work as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan reminds us, we want to move based on the actual facts. And then with those facts, make reasonable inferences that we can test for their validity, and then move forward from there to develop our plans. Now, there's another aspect to scenario planning, and that is dealing with the reality that is present and generating the context for whatever scenario planning we may have in mind. And when looking at the forces that are driving the conditions of our community today, ultimately, it is God himself who is driving the conditions. Just look at this pestilence that we have been facing, COVID-19, which the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan declared to us is a pestilence from heaven. Student Minister Ava Muhammad shared with us from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that Allah brought this pestilence to force inaction, separation. As a direct result, we are now being forced to plan for our own survival. We're being forced now because we as a people, a community, have been slow and unwilling to accept the perfect guidance that has been given to us by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Recall what Jesus said to his people recorded in the scripture. At one point he said, I have many things to say to you, but you cannot bear them now. What does that mean for us now? And what will help us to be able to bear the guidance we have received? Please consider these words from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on this verse from the book of John.
What do you mean, Jesus? I mean that you don't have a foundation in faith or understanding that I could pour on you what I have been shown of divine. There are many things that I could tell you, but you can't bear it now. Well, when will we be able to bear it? When circumstances and conditions prepare your heart and your mind and your perception of reality matures. And at the time that you mature, the time will be right.
This is a quote, an excerpt from a lecture by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan entitled The Concept of Allah, God, given in 1987. Well, so now the question is our perception of reality maturing? Are we now better able to see the conditions of our people and community as they actually are? And are we better able to see that it is indeed up to us, with the help of Almighty God, to make our communities a decent and safe place to live? If there's anything that we should know about Allah, is that Allah's timing is perfect. So in a few days, information will be sent out about a call to action from now to Savior's Day 2022, this February. It will be a call to action for some, but also a call to increase collaboration for others who have already been busy doing the work. Very specific action steps will be planned and taken in every ministry. And every one of us, every one of you, every one of us is already linked to a ministry, whether you know it or not. What do you mean? You are linked by your very DNA and the fact that you originate directly from God and you are born and alive today. Every ministry serves a need. Every ministry represents a skill set, a talent, or an interest. Consider this. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that each of us are born with many talents, but each a talent that we can perform perfectly. Think over that. We're born with many talents, but each of us are born with a talent that we can perform perfectly. Our interests, those things that we're interested in, are a sign of our talents, that if we work to develop those interests, we'll uncover the talents and they'll become skills that we can use to serve ourselves and others. So brothers and sisters, please be on the lookout for the information that is to come that will take us from now to Savior's Day 2022. Planning and working for our survival as a community. May Allah bless you. And once again, happy Holy Day of Atonement. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. We're so grateful to our Ministry of Information, our National Study Group, Brother Bobby, for that presentation. And so this has been a wonderful evening. We have been well fed. We have some action items to move out on. And with that, we'd like to go over to our brother Zuri Muhammad to close out in prayer, and check the chat box before you leave out to make sure you write down any information that you may need to follow up. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Like Salam, man. Attention prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, and Master of the Day of Judgment. Thee alone do we serve, and thine aid do we beseech for help. O Allah, guide us on the right path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed thy favors, not the path of those upon whom thy wrath has been brought down, nor of those who go astray after they've heard thy true teachings. Ameen.
Ameen.
Beautiful. Thank you, Brother Farrakhan. That was beautiful.
Thank you, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.